We are go here at Zandvoort. Not the best launch for Flint Turing, and that has opened the door for Alessandro Gueretti. Turing is off, and Dehaan has now gone through as well. Dehaan pushing Gueretti, and there's contact there between the pair. Oh no, Dirk Schuten is beached in the gravel, and safety car is out, and that could be that. What a shame. And now Alessandro Gueretti is in prime position to win this championship title.
And then there was 3. After 7 races, the time has come to crown our Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup champion. Hello everyone and welcome to the final chapter. This is round number 8 of 8. We are at the Temple of Speed at Monza, a venue that requires skill, a venue that requires talent. And those 3 contenders have to produce exactly that if they want to call themselves the champion driver of season 33. We've got a circuit that runs to 5.7 kilometers in total. We've got a venue that is 11 turns as well. It is chicanes, separating straights, and top speed of course reached down towards the Retafilo chicane. It all comes down to this, everybody. This is what the teams, the drivers have all been preparing for. Our championship finale. It is Robert Dehaan versus Flint Turing versus championship leader Alessandro Gueretti. He comes into this event with a 9.5 point advantage. That is massive considering the standard that we have had across this season. It all comes down to this qualifying session and the race that will come down tomorrow as well. Gueretti, a big weekend ahead for him, who made his debut in the category in 2023. Dehaan made his debut in 2024, and Flint Turing has made his debut in 2025. They all started in different years, they all have different experience underneath them, but they all need to produce their best this weekend, no matter what, whether they want to call themselves a champion. We mentioned what year they started. Do you want to know another interesting thing? 2023, Alessandro Gueretti, rookie champion. 2024, Robert Dehaan, rookie champion. 2025, 1 week ago, Flint Turing, rookie champion. They've all won the rookie championship. Now it's time for them to produce their best as they try and chase the overall crown. They've been given this chance after we've seen some of the best that this category has had leave and step away, including Larry Tenforda, who reached the summit and became a 4-time champion 1 year ago around this venue. It is a big weekend for Schumacher CLRT and Lechner Racing as well. Schumacher CLRT lead the championship. Lechner Racing needs something mammoth if they are to take this championship away. We will keep you up to date with all that is going on. One championship that is sealed, though, as we just mentioned, is the rookie championship, and I'm sure it will be quite the celebrations over the winter regarding that championship. But it won't be to the great extent that they would usually do so, because for the first time since 2014 there is a chance for a rookie driver, a driver contesting in the rookie championship, to win the overall championship in the same season. We haven't had that since 2014, Earl Bamber, when he impressed us all that year, over a decade ago. That is the history, that is what Flint Turing could do. He's of course a Dutch driver who took pole position 1 week ago. When it has come to qualifying Flint Turing, well, he's been a contender quite a bit, hasn't he, when it comes to pole positions. He's had 2 across this season, 1 taken in that brilliant qualifying in Spain, and then followed up with a pole on home soil 1 week ago in the Netherlands. He's one of our contenders.
Monza is the finale of the Super Cup this season, and it has been for the last couple of years already. And to host our finale at such an iconic place in the international world of motorsport, is something that, of course, makes it very exciting for us to enjoy that in front of such an amazing crowd. But on the other hand, also for our drivers, the layout of the circuit is very particular. It is a high-speed circuit, and it gives all of our competitors the chance for the last time in their season to show again what they are made of.
It really does. Thank you very much, Oliver Schraub, who spoke with us earlier on in the weekend. We'll continue to bring you interviews throughout this broadcast. So, 26 minutes and 30 seconds. The drivers just going through their build phase at the moment. The fans starting to get to the circuit here for this Grand Prix Saturday we are on. This session, while you are seeing it later, it is currently taking place in between Formula 1 Practice 3, and just before that, ran the Formula 3 qualifying as well. So, quite a bit going on. Robert Dehan, we ride on board with him, who was our pole sitter here 1 year ago. We mentioned his rookie success. He won the rookie championship here 1 year ago, but he also took pole position around this circuit. But he may have taken pole, but guess who took the step forward when it came to the race? Alessandro Gueretti claimed his first ever win in this category. At this event 1 year ago, he finished just ahead. He made the move on Larry Tenforda as well. It wasn't just he won the race, he made the move on the champion of that year to win here at the Temple of Speed. Both drivers of Dehan and Gueretti, our top two in the championship, have success around this venue, and they look to try to take that into this weekend. A driver who has had a mixed season, I think it's fair to say, is Wouter Borokamps, who is out there currently pushing on this circuit, the number 22, who of course had the disappointment of Budapest, if we remember correctly, where he found himself in a situation where he was in the barrier on the exit of the chicane around that circuit in the middle sector. So it was a disappointment in Budapest for Borokamps. The question was of course put, how would he bounce back in the Netherlands? The answer was P4, a very good result by him. Nice, consistent and tidy. In a race which went all the way to the end, if we remember, we had a fantastic fight between between Robert Dehan and, of course, Alessandro Gueretti around that circuit. What I was trying to say was we had a brilliant fight with Larry Tenforda in the Netherlands as well in previous years. But in 2025, though, it was all about seeing what we could see, the driver of Dehan and also his rival for the title, Alessandro Gueretti. What could they manage? And it turned out was they entertained us all the way till the end. A late safety car brought the race to an early close. We didn't end under green flags, unfortunately. It brought it to an early end, but that could have been a last lap fight. And that is the moment which cost Robert Dehan, really. He could have got into this event. He could have gone into this event with a championship lead, or being within a point or maybe even a half, considering we've got that half point to think about this season. Instead, we find ourselves with a scenario. He couldn't make the move. He wasn't given the time. He didn't get the opportunity near the end, and instead, he's got time to come back. He's got an opportunity to come back, but he's got a task as well around this venue today. Not the ease that he would have preferred had he won the race. But now it means that Alessandro Gueretti, if you are the Frenchman, your goal is basically set. Finish on the podium. No matter what Dehan does, no matter what Schuring does, you are the champion of Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup 2025. I think that's the one underlining statement that we need to get out there. If he finishes on the podium, he's the champion, no matter where Dehan or Schuring do. For Flint Schuring, it is a really big outside chance, but we've seen weirder things happen in the Porsche Supercup. Just go back to 2023 around this venue. Bastien Boost finding himself in a spot of bother that year, but he just about did enough. Finished way back, finished miles back in the field, outside our top 10 by a mile, but could still celebrate as the champion. That is the type of races that we've had around this circuit, where we've had championship favourites facing the wrong way. So do not count Flint Schuring out, and do not count Robert Dehan out one bit. 9.5 points, as you would have heard in the story so far. Still a massive margin by Porsche Supercup standards, but it can all be closed in, it can all be overturned, and it all starts in this qualifying session. Over the years, this qualifying has been very much dictating. It has been very important as to how your race is going to go. And right now, at the moment, this qualifying session has Borakamp's top, only for a moment. Now it goes to Marvin Klein, who has found the time, and found the time perfectly, I have to say, as well. So nice stuff for him, as they make their way through. Yellow flags are out at the moment, and Robert Dehan, side by side. My word, is it getting close. My word, is it getting close. He's wheel to wheel with Alessandro Gueretti, and Schuring's there as well. Fantastic scenes. It's qualifying, but the championship contenders are wheel to wheel on the circuit. Not for proper racing. Don't worry, guys. Not yet. They calmed themselves down, but Gueretti was basically squeezing Dehan on the circuit. This is immediately giving signs of the type of relationship that these three have. Maybe friends off track. Maybe able to discuss in the cool down room. But on the circuit, it is get one up on another in this qualifying session. And if you could even just give a little nudge out there on the circuit. Gueretti returning the favour for what Dehan did over the line in the Netherlands. Then you could find yourself in a perfect scenario. Schuring, down to Ascari he goes. Dutch racer making his way through. Stands on the power, gets the toe, gets the slipstream. Mathis Jalbert's pushing on as well. Jalbert, the driver's second place. And he was the driver who had contact with Ariel Levy. We'll discuss more about that in a second. We'll watch him come across the line though, Jalbert, as he will extend his advantage at the top of the table. Lap time deleted there for Marvin Klein, which is why we saw the order change, and Jalbert gets to P1 even before he came across the line. Schuring, not with an improvement there. Ascona into second place. Tauscher takes that away. He now goes into P2. Klin finds the time for fourth. Ascona, of course, driving for the Hideka Racing team, who are completing now their first season of Porsche Supercup. A huge congratulations to them on what has been a very successful campaign, I have to say. It can be so tricky up against teams and drivers who've been in this category for so long. And we had a moment, I think that was Aaron Mason who had a spin. It was Aaron Mason on the exit of the second chicane, losing the car. The location where Sebastian Vettel went round, if we remember. With his contact that he had in 2018 with Lewis Hamilton. The same place. So, right now we're finding ourselves with a scenario where we've got lots of gravel on the circuit. Jalbert's had his lap time deleted. So he loses the fastest time and drops down to 6th. So now it's Tauscher at the front. But lap time deletions are coming in. Lots of gravel on the circuit, so I wonder what they'll do about that. But what I was saying about Ascona and Hideka Racing in general, yeah, they were giving us an interview. If you joined us last time in qualifying in the Netherlands, they gave us an interview and they gave us a bit of a talk regarding the challenge that they're facing with all of these teams and drivers who've done it for years, for decades, who've driven in this category. They're playing catch-up, and I think they've done a good job of it. Unfortunately, their lap time has just been deleted with Ascona, who drops down to 14th. No worries though, he's pushing on. Let's hope it is within the white lines this time. Round Parabolica. Borkamps, second. Jalbert, third. Tauscher now with a lap time deleted. Lap times are being deleted left, right and centre. Gueretti finds himself to second. Make that third now, because we've just seen an improvement coming from Huub van Eindhoven, who is now on pole by 6,000ths of a second. Marvin Klein is in third. Ariel Levy goes and takes that position away from him now. That was the fastest last sector at 36.915 by Ariel Levy that time by, which is why he was able to get himself to only being 600ths off the pace. That is our gap between our top three in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup, with 18 minutes on the clock to go as well. Let's take a look at a replay. This is Nathan Schaap, the number 28, and directly in behind Martinez, as Nathan Schaap went over the road. That could be him in a bit of trouble. That is not what the race directors require you to. Of course, they'll look at the data, they'll see whether it was possible for him to go to the runoff. If it was, they won't be too happy with that one. So we'll see what they do decide to do when it comes to that. For now, cars continue to push on. Gueretti on full attack. He's just over a tenth off. Just over a tenth off at the moment as he heads down towards the Parabolica. What lap time is Alessandro Gueretti going to be able to find is our question. 17 minutes on our clock, ticking down and down. You could easily get a car in the gravel later on in the session, and that being the red flag. So you've got to be cautious. You've got to make sure you get the lap times in nice and early to make sure that you don't find yourself in a spot of bother as a championship contender especially. Alessandro Gueretti 6th, Robert Dehan is 7th, and Flint Schuring not looking good for him. He's into the pit lane now and he's all the way down in 15th for him at the moment. So that's a bit of a disappointment as we see Keegan Masters improve. Doug shooting with a good lap. That's nice. That is nice and tidy for the driver who went in the gravel. He was talking to us about how weird he found it to find himself being in the gravel 1 second and then finding himself on the podium the next, as he spoke on social media in regards to that as well. So the cars continue rotating their way through. We've got Sam Shaheen, full name for him of course being Sam Shaheen. He's also known as that by lots of drivers. One of those great talented drivers is Sam Shaheen, even though he's not been able to fully show his full potential in Porsche Supercup. Has been doing quite a bit of racing elsewhere. He comes across the line and is in 24th place with that lap time. We've got 20 permanent entries this weekend. The rest being taken by some non-permanent drivers. To give you an update on how our points will be handed out tomorrow, we'll have 25 for the win. And don't worry, I'm not just going to read out the F1 point system. It goes to 20 for second, 17 gets third, and then we have fourth place that gets 14, 5th place gets 12, 6th place gets 10, 7th place gets 9, and then it goes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know the drill, all the way down until P15. Dirk Schuiten, we mentioned a great lap time for him, the driver who's been driving with Dynamic Motorsport. Red flag is out there on the circuit. Red flags are flying. We will look to see what that is. Okay, I'm just hearing in my ear that that probably is going to be down to debris. Yes, so it is down to debris out there on the circuit. They just want to clear that to ensure there's no issues, considering we had a spin earlier on for Aaron Mason, the driver in 26th. They just don't want to have any issues because there's a lot of gravel, a whole layer of gravel out there on the circuit on the exit of the second chicane. So that is why at the moment, everybody, we find ourselves waiting for just a little bit longer. The red flags fly and the cars make their way back out onto the circuit, back into the pit lane I should say rather. And Francesco Braschi, another one of those drivers who was kicking up and spraying the gravel. Jaap van Lagen, one of the more experienced talents. Next season, if he does decide to continue, he will be reaching race number 100 in his career in the Porsche Supercup. Tells you how long he's been driving with us and how much he's been driving with us for. It is absolutely fantastic to see. With the red flag out then, let's run you through our top 10 as it stands. It's Hugo van Eindhoven, then Theo Overhaus, Dirk Schuiten has 3rd, Ariel Levy has 4th, and then it's Clinton 5th, Bora Council 6th, Gueretti and Dehan, the contenders, are in 7th and 8th for the title, and then it's Jaber in 9th, Stiak in 10th, the Marshals. We thank every single one of them as they get to work out there to sweep away the gravel as well. So a huge thank you to them. We really appreciate all of the work that they do across so many different events. Great to see the fans coming in the grandstands as well and giving the Porsche Supercup some love. As the cars line up in the pit lane then, changes of tyres go on, any conversations between the teams go on as well. Ariel Levy in 4th place. Let's hear from Van Lagen.
very important that we watch out for P1. They are very strict on track limits with P1.
Okay, bit of good information there coming in for all of us who are watching on this session with 14 minutes and 45 seconds with the clock stopped at the moment as the red flag is out. Important information due to the fact that we'll look out at turn 1 to see whether any track limits are taking place there when we are watching the lap times, because it looked like that any lap time we saw was getting deleted. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more red flags come in across this session if we do need any more sweeping, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more lap times getting deleted as well. So keep an eye out on those two. We'll bring you up to date with that as much as possible. That was the team on the radio to car number 4, that is of course Jaap van Lagen. I was trying to mention before that radio came in, P4 at the moment, Ariel Levy. Big incident for him, and a championship chance fading away for him as well. So it was a huge disappointment for him, as something's going on there with the head decker door. The door is automatically shutting and opening. Wild stuff. But yes, it was contact for Joubert and Ariel Levy. They elected the stewards to not penalise either driver. It was deemed as a racing incident, but Ariel Levy not being cautious at all with what he said on social media, not holding back one bit. He was angry. He knows a chance of the Porsche Supercup Championship has faded away, and that is his ambitions over. He will continue this season, and he will try hang on to P4. That's another battle. We're talking about our championship picture at the front, but there's lots of battling going on everywhere else. We have Levy, Klin, who are together, only separated by 1 point in our points battle. It is time to go down.
My favourite corner on the track, the most kind of satisfying corner on the track, is Ascari, because it goes on to that long back straight. The exit really matters, and it's one of those corners in qualifying where you can be on a great lap, you can see you're positive or negative on the dash, you know you're 5/10 up. That's such a technical corner and so easy to get it wrong, but when you get it right, it's so satisfying. It's also a place you can line someone up and get a better exit than them onto the back straight, try and get a move done into Parabolica, so I'd say that's my favourite corner on the track.
Great to hear from Gus Burton. You can tell he runs and does a YouTube channel. I think it's pretty obvious with all of the insight that he provided to us there. The driver who was facing, well, quite a team debrief in Austria when there was contact between himself and his teammate Jaap van Lagen. That was quite frosty. He spoke about it on his YouTube channel as well. Talking about frosty, Flint Schuring, it's not going to be looking ideal. He'll know that he has an outside shot. Realistically, it's an outside shot for him. Some would even suggest that it's an outside shot for Dehaan. So, if it is for Dehaan, then it absolutely is for Flint Schuring. We've got to consider that. So it is something for the teams and drivers to consider about Flint Schuring, that you are expecting him to be a driver who takes a lot of risks. So you have to keep an eye. You have to keep an eye on him, definitely, as best as you can. Out onto the circuit we go with Dobic. So just to bring you a little bit of information, Ian Silvestrian, the voice you can hear in the background, the Italian F4 commentator and the Supercars commentator as well, over to do the Italian Grand Prix for the circuit. In the background, Hideki racing car, Alexander Dobic out there on the circuit. Great to see Hideki able to run 2 cars this weekend as well. Talking about running 2 cars. Fortunately, that isn't the case for all the teams coming into this event. We don't have Cass Havercourt once again with us, unfortunately, due to sickness, which is quite the shame. We have Havercourt missing this round. Lucky he missed, of course, the weekend in the Netherlands. He missed his home race, which was quite the shame. But he's also missing this round due to illness. We have Hoffner, who's in his position, who we also had 1 week ago. Pietro Deli Guranti is not with us this weekend as well. He's not with us due to medical reasons, and in his position will be Filippo Fant, who is going to be behind the wheel of that Dynamic Motorsport car, the number 9, who we were just mentioning earlier on as well. But as the green light goes on, a bit of a calmer start for most of the drivers. No one in a hurry to head out there on the circuit, because they usually do like to sit in the pit lane for this moment, so they can wait and see how they can wait for some time to go by, and then they can head out so they can have their usual run to end the session as well. Okay, so if you haven't been with us in 2025 so far, first of all, where have you been? Because we've had Alessandro Gueretti, who's won 3 races across this season, and then we've also, 2 races I should say rather. He has had 3 races in total in the Porsche Supercup, with his win here 1 year ago. Overhouse has also won once, and that applies to Robert Dehan, who took the checkered flag in Monaco. We've had Clint, who's won in Austria, and JBS
The
won in
circuit
Budapest.
itself is peculiar, it's magic, it's fast, and it's challenging, it is about detail. So that's the technical challenge. We know what to do, we know how we want to execute the weekend, so we feel comfortable with that. And then we have the extra pleasure and pressure of having friends and families and sponsors. So the will to be competitive, to be in the top 3 is even more, and the mix of these makes the weekend more exciting than an usual weekend.
It does indeed. Thank you very much to our team principal of Ombra Racing, a great team that is with us this year in 2025. When I was going through the winners in terms of pole sitters this season, you may ask. Well, we've had, of course, some poles coming from Dehan to his name at Monaco, and also at Austria. Overhouse has taken a pole at Imola. Schewing has taken 2. That was at Barcelona and Zandvoort, as we mentioned earlier. Gueretti took a pole at Spa, and Jalbert has taken pole at the Hungaroring as well. Quite the difference compared to 2024 in terms of race winners, where we only had Larry Tenforder, King, Klin and Gueretti winning. We've had an extra one this year in 2025. But most of all, we've also had a year that's been a lot more competitive, as I try and get my words out. We've had a year that's been a lot more competitive, and that's the most important thing. 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go, as you can very clearly hear. We've got the cars roaring through our picture at the moment, as they look to go full on attack to try and get themselves to a pole position. My word, would this mean so much to either of our title, the trio of the title contenders that we've got here in 2025 in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup. 2 teams, as I've mentioned earlier as well. We have Schumacher CLRT and Lechner Racing. They're 1-2 in the championship. 207 points for Schumacher CLRT, 169.5 for Lechner Racing. So quite the advantage for Schumacher CLRT, unless there's a 1-2 coming in from Lechner, and both Schumacher CLRT drivers find themselves losing a chance of the driver's title with a result outside the top 10. Could open the door for the team's championships to change hands in quite dramatic circumstances. I'm sure they would be if that was to take place. We've had racing around this circuit for quite a while. Our first winner was Huisman, who was able to reach the checkered flag first in 1988. So quite a lot of history around this place. 28 races in total that we have ran in the Porsche Supercup. We held a double header here in 2015 and also in 2021. So it's a venue that has offered us a lot. It's an absolute privilege to be able to have a Porsche Supercup finale here. And we go there with a lot of eyes on this battle for our championship this season. So we're running you through all the information at the moment out there on the circuit. Jalbert continues to navigate his way on this outlap, and then he'll get on to pushing eventually. Mathis Jalbert, who had to miss races earlier on the season, in Monaco especially, and then followed with a miss in Spain due to mental health reasons, and it is great to see him back, and it is great to see him continuing on and strong. It was great to call him to a pole position, and then 24 hours on, a victory as well in Budapest. Such a talented driver, such a fast driver, and that is the moments that these talented racers do deserve indeed. As we make our way down towards the first corner with Jalbert, we've got to be careful with track limits from what we've heard earlier on. You absolutely need to just be careful, you need to be cautious. We'll keep an eye on how our contenders are doing. It is 0.06 of a second separating our top two. Hugo van Eindhoven at the moment is on his way for what would be a first ever pole position in the Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup. It would be a second for Jalbert, but he's 900s off the pace. A race control message which you can see top of screen when it scrolls on by. All lap times will be reviewed after the session. So, whatever result we get at the end of this, the stewards will have their say in which lap times are legal and which ones will be dismissed, and we could end up coming to you tomorrow with a complete scrambled order. I remember that was exactly the case 1 year ago, where our pole sitter, Cas Havercourt, who was battling for the rookie championship with Dehaan, had that chance fade away. Imeni was at the back, and then also in the race, unfortunately, he had contact and it ended in the wall for Havercourt. Any chance that he had of the championship. Faded away the rookie title 1 year ago. So this venue has offered drama. It has offered qualifying sessions which have been decided off the circuit. We want to see it on the circuit, hopefully, though. We have 6 minutes to go. 3 drivers hoping to be able to call themselves the champion driver of 2025. They want to end it with a good qualifying as well, and this qualifying is so important to see where and how much of a chance will every driver have. Into the first turn. Bit of the bonnet coming loose there for Jaap van Lagen. As Dirk Schuten, oh my word, getting some airtime at the exit of the second chicane as he went towards Lismo 1, Aldo Frestante, his teammate, doing the exact same, and then a huge lockup into the Variante Ascari chicane as well. Ascari chicane known by most, but if you want to add in the extra detail, because it is Italy, it definitely could be useful. Okay, this is business end of this session now. Alessandro Gueretti's pushing on. He's trying to ignore all the hopes that Schuring and Dehaan may have of being able to call themselves a champion. Gueretti, all the way down in 8th place, needs a lap time, needs to find his improvement to ensure safety. And Alessandro Gueretti to provisional pole with 4 minutes and 35 seconds to go. Flint Schuring, how do you respond? Robert Dehaan, how do you respond? Looking at the sector times at the moment, it is currently going to be needing quite the effort. Dehaan was improving in the middle sector. Schuring at the moment will need an improvement as well. Borakam's across the line and he is in 6th. Flint Schuring in 12th. But that was remarkable stuff from Alessandro Gueretti. Could this be the moment where one hand on the championship trophy adds some fingers to that championship trophy as well? As meanwhile, Marvin Klein, well, Robert Dehaan didn't improve, but that's because Marvin Klein had a big mistake. He went over the road through the Ascari chicane on the exit. He'll rejoin and that will hamper, because the car's out of shape, he can't save it now, he can't control it, but he'll rejoin and it'll affect his teammate Robert Dehaan. Oh, could that be the moment? Could that be the moment where a championship chance fades away with the yellow flags flying? Now, if this is big, if this is major, that could be the end of the session. It could be the end of the session. Yellow flags are flying. Dehaan's not on an improvement. Gueretti's P1. Paul Calpe is in 2nd place somehow. He's found the time out of nowhere. Oh no! Car in the barrier! That'll be the red flag surely. Will there be enough time for there to be an improvement? We'll bring you up to date with whose has come to a stop. It is Martinez. Luciano Facundo Martinez, the number 19, off the road for Umbra Racing at the Parabolica. He's found the wall. Let's take a look at a replay of how he did it. Full out attack. Full out. Into the wall at high speed. Damaging our barrier down there as well. Red flag is out with 3 minutes and 3 seconds to go. Medical car's been deployed as well due to the impact. So they will ensure and make sure. Oh, that's a big hit. That's a big hit. No wonder the medical car has been deployed to the incident. That is a big hit into the wall as well. And that is exactly why we have tyre barriers. Now, may I just say, Paul Calpe, my word. That would be a first ever pole in Porsche Supercup. And the funny thing is, he's not even been with us all season. Absolutely remarkable. Absolutely remarkable stuff from him. Just loading up all of my information about him, my word. 19 years of age. And yeah, that would mean quite a bit if he's able to get that pole position. A non-permanent driver taking pole. Imagine the scenes of that. Talk about a surprise. Talk about a turn up. You have all the championship implications that we've been talking about and going on about for a while. Ignore all of that. We've got ourselves to a scenario where, well, we've got ourselves to a scenario where you've got a driver out of nowhere finding the time. Now I wonder whether this session will resume. If it doesn't, that'll be major. That would be major if it doesn't. But there's 3 minutes to go. Surely they will, because we've not got a tight schedule with Formula 1 today. Hold on a minute. Let's see what you have.
This is unbelievable. Honestly, unbelievable. My first push lap was already going to be a P1. And then my second push lap as well, and we have yellow flag. Always the same shit. Take one, Robert. Take one. It's not over yet.
That is a man who is seeing chances of the overall title in 2025 fade away. You have to feel for him. First lap he was impeded by his teammate who had the error. He mentioned he was on his way to what could have been pole. Of course, no guarantee of that. Every driver will argue that, but you know, there was a huge chance of that surely coming his way. Run number 2, he couldn't complete the lap due to the red flag. That has to hurt. I'm just hoping that he did lift off if there was yellows. It'll depend on that, because that could be another thing that the stewards could get mad about. We'll see whether any investigations come in. As well, Nathan Schapp out there on this venue at the moment, where he's getting to race with a fantastic team, fantastic driver, absolutely gunning for it. What a privilege it is for any of these drivers to be able to race on a venue like this. They all open the door, they do that to allow some air to come in. As we get a shot of every single car that's in the pit lane. Here we go. TV director's having fun at the moment. Oh, we're not going to be able to continue that. They've got an angle of how they're all lining up in the pit lane is what's going on there. Because what's going on is basically them finding themselves with a situation of it getting quite hot. The barrier just being put back into place. You've got some marshals who are on work to get rid of that car and then fix that wall down at the Parabolica. We've seen hefty damages there as well. We've had a Formula 1 red flag in 2020, if you remember, when Charles Leclerc found the wall at that part of the circuit. So if a driver is to findable, it can lead to a costly moment. Don't leave the house at the moment. This is still in the balance. Alessandro Gueretti's P1, but if Robert Dehan has proven over 2 laps that he's got the pace, could he have the pace though when it's required in the final minutes of Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup qualifying in 2025? That is the exam question. Fastest sectors. Sector 1, it is Paul Kaupe. Sector 2, it is Alessandro Gueretti, and Sector 3, it is Ariel Levy. That is how it looks like at the moment. Ariel Levy and Marvin Klein, as we've already described to you, battling over 4th and 5th in the championship. A good overtaking drive from Marvin Klein. He was producing quite a bit of overtaking in the Netherlands, I have to say. He would have loved to have fought for the title this year, but DNFs at Imola, DNFs at Monaco to start the year really blew any chance of that happening this season. We check in with Nathan Schaap. This year we came into this with knowing about that whoever wins the title, it would be their first ever championship in Porsche Mobil 1 Supercup. No former champion remained on the grid coming into this year. We knew it was going to be a chance for someone to take over. It looked like it could have been Overhouse. Then the advantage swung the way of Robert Dehan. And then it looked like Schuring after Spain's qualifying was somehow a contender. Then it became Gueretti. And, well, lots of contenders. But 3 drivers who have just given themselves enough across 7 rounds to fight are Schuring, Dehan and Alessandro Gueretti. Gueretti finds himself in first at the moment. Flynn Schuring still running down the order. It looks like a chance of a fight are also fading away a big time for him. It's could you deliver when required, and unfortunately it doesn't look like at the moment that is the case. We're looking at all of the drivers in the pit lane at the moment. We send our best wishes to Cas Havercourt and to Pietro Deli Guranti, of course, who we've already talked you through that they're not participating in this round for their respective reasons. The session will resume at 17 past local time. Let's hear from Jonas Greif.
Push like hell. It's hammer time.
Getting the encouragement. They know how important this is. They know how it's send it. It's basically win it or bin it stuff type thing. Well, maybe don't bin it. Maybe that might not be the best idea, if we're in all honesty. You do want this car to be with you tomorrow. And you don't want to give your team a headache with the amount of work that they would have to do in a scenario like that. Absolutely fantastic. 8 Dutch drivers, 8 permanent Dutch drivers in total racing this season in the Porsche Supercup. And then of course you've had lots of non-permanent drivers come in as well. Our guest drivers, we absolutely adore them in the Porsche Supercup. Lots of these drivers' journeys begin many different ways, I think it is fair to say. But it all comes down to in which way can you fight your way to the crown? In which way can you succeed at your specific level at that moment in your career to give yourself a good chance to fight in future seasons to get to this level of Porsche Supercup? One make racing. We're about to surely get the timer ticking down, and surely this session is about to get underway. The time is ticking down, and there is no waiting about. It is go out there and push. Could it be the lap of Robert Dehan's life after taking pole here 1 year ago? Can he do it on the circuit this time? Can he do it for his championship ambitions? We have seen so many sessions be changed by 1 lap only. 1 lap is what it takes for the advantage to swing Robert de Haan's way. The crowd are about to witness something that we don't usually see in Porsche Supercup. You usually have a few laps to build into your final run, but an interruption means it isn't that scenario. It means it's full push, full attack for the championship of 2025 for our 3 title contenders. For the rest of the drivers, just go out there, have a bit of fun. Final day school stuff for a lot of them, and they can go out there with nothing to lose, while you have Guiretti knowing that De Haan and Schuring are more likely to take risks. While they're championship contenders, they've got to be careful to keep their championship hopes alive, but at the same time, if it is a race scenario where they're not getting anywhere, where Guiretti is ahead, they will send it. But the important statement in mind for Guiretti has to be that if he gets a podium, he's the champion. He can let Schuring go win the race. He can let De Haan go win the race. But he has one goal, and that is to get on the podium. If he can do that, he is our champion of Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup in 2025. One minute to go. This is the final push laps of our 2025 season.
Flint is really not playing the game. Thank you very much.
That was the slipstream games and how everyone is following closely to try and get a tow. This is the final moment of Porsche Supercup qualifying in 2025. We've got a great championship fight between 3 drivers, and now what can Alessandro Guiretti do to ensure the top spot stays with him? We make our way through Curva Grande, absolutely flat to the floor in these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. Schuring is down by 15 thousandths to his teammate. Guiretti is up by 16 thousandths on himself. How much can he risk this? How much can he take this as he tries to take pole position? De Haan finds himself in 5th. Schuring finds himself in 15th. These are vital moments. They've not had the build phase that they would be used to. And with that, is anyone going to step forward? In our final qualifying session of our 2025 campaign, we have reached round number 8 out of 8. Guiretti is down by 200ths. Very nearly 300ths on his own personal best. Schuring's not finding an improvement. Oh, a mistake! A mistake for Guiretti, and that will interfere with Schuring's hopes to find the improvement as well. Schuring's going to lose out. A mistake for Alessandro Guiretti, who's done all he can. It is over to the remaining drivers in this field. It's a 34.157 in the first sector for Robert de Haan. Jalbert is absolutely pushing on. He's going quickest of all than anyone in the middle sector. Jalbert chasing a second pole in Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. Schuring's across the line and he stays in 15th. He stays in 15th. That is possibly the championship fading away for him. Guiretti's on pole as it stands, but Mathieu Jalbert, who took pole position in the Hungaroring at Budapest, now has a chance to fight for it at Monza. Borekamps improves to the front row. Is our final pole position of 2025 going to Jalbert? No, he loses the time, and Marvin Klein takes it away at the end. It looked like it was going to be Jalbert. Marvin Klein, out of absolutely nowhere. Not an improvement in Sector 1. A personal best in Sector 2 and Sector 3 combined sees him take pole by a 1/10 of a second. Lechner Racing in celebration. De Haan will find himself down in 8th. But it is not over. It is not over. You've got a Lechner Racing car of Klin who will go all in to help his teammate. But De Haan will be in trouble. This is a championship which Schuring possibly has lost at this moment. De Haan is going to have a big fast tomorrow.
Enemy that we did it. Yo man. Yes.
For Marvin Klein, that is a 5th pole position and a 1st of 2025. That'll mean so much. That'll mean so much to him. A mistake for Guiretti. at the end. This order can still change, remember? This order can absolutely still change as well. But is that the moment where our championship has been decided? With Dehaan down in 8th. That is not what he would have wanted. Do wonder what went wrong for him that time by. Flynn Turing giving the headlights to his teammate to make him aware that he's still pushing on. Didn't come to an improvement, didn't come to anything. I think there will be quite a lot of angry faces from this qualifying session, I can expect. Alessandro Guiretti, exactly a 10th of pole.
We are P2 being clapped. The car was good, but I did not warm up properly my tires.
Comes down to those type of little things in Porsche Super Cup. It really, really does. As we get ready to race tomorrow, Boerkamps.
P3. Let's go. Amazing that we done it in the last lap. Thank you, guys.
Absolute delight. Absolute delight. For him. As they make their way through. And we conclude our final qualifying session of 2025. Marvin Klein ends on pole and gives his teammate a remote chance of the title, because he's not in a championship fight, so he'll be doing it for the team tomorrow. Guiretti in 2nd. Good result by him. Boerkamps in 3rd. Then it's Chalbert. Then Paul Kaupe in 5th. Huber Eindhoven. Theo Overhouse in 7th. Robert Dehaan with a big ask from 8th. Dirk Schuiten in 9th. And then in 10th position it's Ariel Levy. In 11th it's Keegan Masters. Felbermeyer is in 12th. And then it's Ascona, Tauscher, Van Lagen, Flint Turing, seeing a possible chance fade away of the title in 2025. Stiak is in 17th. Then it's Fastante, Burton. And then we find ourselves with Filippo Fant. And then Hoffner, Brasky, Greif, Schaap, Shaheen, Martinez who found the wall. Mason had a spin. And it was unfortunate for Dobic, who couldn't get a proper lap time on the board. 6.2 seconds off the pace as well. Well, that is going to be it for qualifyings in 2025. My thanks to Wes, who has made it all possible across this year. And that is it. We have concluded qualifying, and now one more race remains. 3 drivers in the fight. 1 hand on the trophy for Guiretti, and possibly a few fingers after today's contest. Who will be our champion? A 3-way fight comes your way tomorrow on Grand Prix Sunday.